And so we come to our review segment, and this game seems very tailor-made to piss Ven off. This is Shadowrun Returns Dragonfall. And this is by Harebrained Schemes, built on the ever-present Unity engine. It's $19.99 for the base game and $14.99 for the Dragonfall expansion. And Ven really didn't want to play this because this is a turn-based game where it's a turn-based tactical RPG. But, of course, they made with the keys, so we make with the chairs. 1 chair means that it's absolute shit. 2 chairs means that it's meh. 3 chairs means that's pretty good. And 4 chairs means that they pass the mix with the working category. So, we also have our categories Doom, mixed with the working, shiny and sounds, controls, and fun. Those are all fairly self-explanatory. If you don't know what we're talking about, go back, watch some episodes of the podcast, give us some of that nice little ad revenue. So, then, Shadowrun Returns in 2012. Remember when that happened in 2012 when like magic came back to the world and dragons started burning shit?
True story. You know, dragons everywhere, and of course it happened to happen in Germany. But talk about the only game that I've ever wanted just not to work. I mean, you don't normally go into a review. It's like, oh, the developers were nice enough to send us the complete kit. I mean, the complete kit, Dragonfall and everything. And for their own sake, let this just not run on my box. But nay, they did load me. Ran out of the box on Ubuntu. Test system of mightiness, 770 powered, 32-bit, because fuck you, that's why. System of the business. No issues with it actually running. So, don't get too used to this, ladies and gentlemen. 4 chairs.
Oh my god. Yeah, so this is standard Unity game fare, and this is one of the good Unity ports. They didn't even zip this motherfucker. And it runs, of course, out of the box perfectly fine on Fedora 20, running both AMD and NVIDIA graphics with the latest drivers. So I'm going to give that 4 chairs.
Yep. And on my end, on the calculator with the AMD 5650 HD graphics card using the open source drivers, it ran out of the box. On my 10-year-old PC with an NVIDIA 7600 EN, it also ran out of the box, so 4 chairs.
So that's 4 chairs with the mix with the working. And now for shiny and sounds. Ven, I heard that you were just completely blown away by the auditory and visual experience.
Mesmerized,
Shadowrun Returns.
Terrified, petrified, and stupefied. We'll take a look at some of this this behemoth, this leviathan of graphical... right. Not so much. Shiny and sounds. We're taking a look at the little trailer right here. Honestly, and I don't say this to slight this because, you know, this is like saying disparaging remarks about someone's mother. Forced look better than this. And just throwing that out there. And if you're not, maybe not, but definitely on par. There was definitely more shiny and less brown and gray in Force versus this. It looks like your standard Unity lot. Nothing... Well, all right. You're developing your characters and you know that, and you're like, oh, there's a lot of detail in that. That looks great. And this is going to be like, you know, something that's going to blow your eye pussies out of your head. But you'd be wrong. Because then you get to your little grid scrolled out free camera view and it's like, right, this, not so much. It does have sounds, however, Slayer. That's all I have to say to that. Couldn't be bothered with them. The guns are like pew pew pew, and I was like, oh, that's brilliant, but boring. So with shiny and sounds, I'm gonna have to give this 2 chairs, and I'm being generous.
Okay, I'll admit Forced has has slightly more diverse of a color palette, but for a game that's supposed to also be an engine for building modules and whatnot, you kind of I understand why the graphics are a bit lower quality, and that's so that people can A, make their own, and B, easily import them into new games of their own design. I would not say that this game is perfect graphically, but for what it is and for what it needs to do, these graphics are very, very good. And the sounds, for the most part, are pretty spot on. So I'm going to give this 3 whole chairs for Shiny and Sounds. And Pedro,
Yeah,
the
well,
Mexicans.
the animations are a bit floaty. For every single character in the game seems to like to wear boots, and apparently those boots have been coated with soap or something because they skid a lot.
But are they made for walking?
All over
Yeah,
you.
the walking animation, they're literally running in place, and it seems like they should be moving faster, but they're not, and it looks a bit off. And I'm kind of forced to agree with Vin that the guns sound like pew pew pew. 3 chairs.
All right, so if we total that nonsense up, that's 2 chairs for Shiny and Sounds. Up next is the control segment. Ven, how did this control?
It controlled fine. Really no issues with that. Now, in all fairness, the last thing I would ever intentionally do is play a turn-based strategy game, so in fairness, I have fuck all idea how that's supposed to actually control and whether or not this is a good turn-based strategy RPG. But pretty tight after you get done with the ridiculousness of, like, click here, click here, click here. Which also leads me to say it's very difficult to fuck that up. I give it a 4 just because raisins. I didn't. The interface is kind of wonky with moving all over the places. Maybe I could go back and do key bindings and stuff like that, but I would never do that to a turn-based strategy. So I'm going to be fair with it and say 3, just because I don't know how that would actually translate to other games, but this man will.
Oh, so I like the interface. I think it basically illustrates what you're trying to do. And of course, I'm going to bring this into the control system, but I do very much like the whole rule system they have set up because it's cute. It's like a little retarded up version of Shadowrun. It tickles me. I like it. It's like it may be my tabletop nerd nostalgia talking, but I think this was a pretty good controlling game. So I'm gonna give this 4 chairs for that. Pedro.
Yeah, I can't give it 4 chairs either because trying to navigate the menus for any extended amount of time is an exercise in patience. If this was say an Android game to play on your tablet, yeah, I could see the reason as to why the UI would look like that. It makes sense for a touch screen, but this is a PC. You're supposed to navigate it with a mouse or a keyboard, and that's for Shadowrun, it's not very intuitive. So 3 chairs.
All right, well, that's 3 whole chairs for the control section if we total that up. And finally, I know Ven's been looking forward to this the entire review segment, but it's our final category, our one subjective category, the fun.
Finally, with this torture porn of a review that has been inflicted upon me for Flying Spaghetti Monster knows why. Fun. Now, there's something we definitely need to address is, you know, we're going to get a computer nerd. Yeah, well, if you don't like, real, you know, what is it? Turn-based strategy. Why are you reviewing? Yeah, your mom's a horcherback. And that's what we're going to have to deal with. Shut up, Popo. Well, there's also a good reason, because for all I knew, this was going to be the turn-based strategy RPG that changed my mind on this entire genre. It wasn't. So, fun. Turn-based strategy, I have a problem with that. I've been a bouncer in like 2 different continents, and I've unfortunately actually deplore violence, but I've been involved in a lot of it. And it doesn't make sense to me. You know, have somebody standing around with a shotgun waiting for his turn to shoot at someone. That hurts my brain too much to really... I'm like vision is blurred. Like, what the hell? Really? Take him out right there. Clack. And, moving grids like, well, strategy. Well, I'm more of a real-time strategy type person, and this doesn't deliver that for me. If you are not a fan of turn-based strategy RPGs, this is not going to change your mind either. So, getting all that out of the way, we look forward to your hate mail, L.G.C. cares. I'm going to give this 1 mothering chair for fun. J-Man.
All right, well, I am... Oh, hello, Sam. Hello. Yeah, I just lost my train of thought. All right, like I said before, I like this game. This is a retarded up version of the actual Shadowrun. I think it's 5th edition rules. This was part of their giant ass marketing campaign. But I think it very well represents what a Shadowrun game actually is. I like the story.
With his teeth, man.
Oh, she's an orc or a troll or some shit.
Right.
It's Shadowrun. It's this weird techno fantasy matrix shit. But I like it. I can't give it 4 chairs because it's by no means a perfect game in that regard. But overall, I enjoyed it. So I'm going to give this 3 chairs for fun. Pedro.
Without the Dragonfall expansion, I would have to give this game 2 chairs. But since they've released Dragonfall and the story in the expansion is actually pretty good, and it's longer than the original game, so it doesn't get those 2 chairs, but it doesn't get a perfect score either. And it doesn't because the combat is shallow. And what I mean by that is, even in 97, 98, Fallout 1 and 2 had a much more visceral combat experience. You pop the cap on someone's ass, and you could tell that they felt it because
you pop the cap on someone's ass.
Giggity.
Whatever. You could tell by the way the character models twitched and parts of their body just got torn away from them. It was a really good and effective combat experience, and it made combat a plus for the game. In this game, spells might as well be spitballs shot out of a straw. And Jordan says that this is sort of a retarded implementation of the Shadowrun rules. I still think they would have been better served as a PC title with the GURPS system. As it stands, it's basically XCOM.
Okay. So this is where we're going with this.
Let him finish, woman.
But as it currently stands, the current control scheme and the tactics and all that, it's Arma Tactics and XCOM Enemy Unknown. And that to me does not make for a very good RPG.
So say you were doing a show about reviewing... There we go. 3
There we go. All right. So that's totaled up. That's 2 chairs for fun. And so if we total all our categories of Doom up with our ridiculous ass chair ranking, we have to give this game 2 chairs. So, gentlemen, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Like I said in Genesis, in the fun section, if you're into turn-based strategy, this might be your bag, baby. But if you're not, this is not going to change your mind. This doesn't have the sparkly cowboy boots or the lacquey hairdo required to make me go, oh, why do I not understand the genre? But I just don't... On a board game, if you were playing, like Warhammer, which is like the right game, not Dungeons and Dragons, which is the wrong game.
Send your hate mail to ben@linuxgamecast.com.
I understand that because the physical constraints placed on the board, but real-time strategy just seems more appropriate to my brain organ on the PC platform. And as P-Man pointed out, it does have an appy feel to it. So, at the end of the day, take that shot. Yeah, stay away if you're from my ilk. But, go ahead, nerd.
Nerd! But you keep mentioning that it's a very appy experience. It is actually available on Android if you want to play it on that business.
Yeah,
but
it's probably better there.
Tiny screen. I like mouse. But like I said, if you're a fan of Shadowrun and if you're a fan of tabletop games, I'm pretty sure you're going to like this. So I would recommend you check that out if you fall into that category. Pedro, final words.
No, final words. We don't need anything about the game.
It is
The explosives.
It is what it is, and personally, I'm gonna go looking for the Android version because I want to play it there. I think it will be a much more fun experience than actually having to deal with that UI on the PC. So yeah, 2 chairs is fair. If you like turn-based RPG games, get it. It's worth it. Trust me. But if you don't, like Ven said, it's not gonna change your mind.